Just in case you need to know.
Carol, would you pray with me, please? Heavenly Father, we come to you today with thanksgiving. We are grateful for all of the blessings that you have bestowed on each and every one. We forget sometimes where these blessings come from, and we need to be gently reminded. So we give to you all that you do for us for this beautiful day, for this is the day that the Lord hath made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. We ask, Lord, that as we prepare for first fundraiser in a while, that it be successful so that we may, again, be able to donate back to our community and to prospective students who need scholarship money for school. Lord, we also ask that as this year is winding down for Stacy and her team, we ask that you be with the incoming team so that they can begin anew with initiative and vivaciousness and encouragement that we have a successful year in Rotary. In your name we pray, Lord. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You all join me in the saying of the four-way test of the things we think, say, or do.
First, is it the truth? Second, is it fair to all concerned? Third, will it build goodwill and better friendship? Fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Hey guys, again, there's not a whole lot. I feel like I just kind of keep repeating myself at all of these meetings. Our fundraiser is winding down. Next week, there will be no noon meeting. It will be, our meeting will be, the picnic, short little meeting at Grandview at 5:30, and that's when we'll be drawing for our winner also. If you have any tickets today, Ashley would be happy to take them. If not, we'll take them up till the night of the drawing. The end of the year picnic, we've had a couple more people RSVP. The chicken, do I need to call and order the chicken? Where did we decide?
I was just going to ask, where did we decide?
Is that where we decided?
I thought they said we're respects, but I'm not here, so I can't help it.
No, you're good. I think Respects is where we had decided, but
Where is Respects?
it's in Elk Grove.
Oh,
It's in the little Tractor
Is it
Supply
Greg's?
Plaza.
Greg's or someplace in Moundsville has good, but I don't know.
Greg's does have chicken, I think. I didn't check on that. I'll just take next Wednesday's or whatever. I'll just tell them, I gotta go do stuff further. So, I mean, do you want me to check with Greg's and Respects and see the difference?
I feel like Respects is too far unless somebody was coming from Elm Grove. I just think that's out of the way.
Yeah.
Okay, there was one other thing that I was gonna ask about. My little town of Cameron got pretty ravished. And I know we had donated to McMeckin when they did. The names are starting to come in of some people who have lost pretty much everything. There's a few who have lost a lot. There's some who have minimal damage, but there's gonna be a lot of cleanup and stuff, and I know they are taking donations of cleaning supplies, different ones. Bridge Street Restaurant was doing meals for people that were helping with cleanup. So I didn't know if that was something that the Rotary would be interested in donating to the community for supplies that they would need, or
What do we do for McMeckin?
I don't remember if it was supplies or if we just done a check to, because I think Rose Hart, I think we gave it to her to do with
Okay, I make a motion that we donate $250 by
I'll
check.
second it.
And then they can use it towards whatever it is that they need.
Is there a fund, is there something set up?
I
Or
don't
how we
think
donate?
yet, but I can make sure it got to the mayor or,
The right person.
yeah, the right person.
Mayor.
I know the Blue and Gold Christian Center is taking donations to the Baptist church out there. They've actually got one of the disaster response teams out there with portable showers. So,
So yeah, if you can just get it to somebody that needs it.
yeah, I'll make sure Greg gets it. That little town sits right there in the middle of all them little hollows, and it just was not, 250 was literally completely shut down. Going up to the old high school, it was just coming down the road like the river. I mean, it literally was probably some of the worst they said, some of the older people out there said that they'd ever seen. So there was some landslides, I guess, that brought some of the transformers down, and that's why there was so much electrical issues. And so they got a long road to clean up ahead of them. Okay, but yes, I will make sure it gets to the city building, the mayor, that way. And I'll make sure he knows it's for designated for the help from the flooding. Does anyone else, Sharon, I know you had some, Jody?
Just something brief, you can get her.
Okay, Sharon.
No.
Go ahead.
Okay, so we have an invitation. Got this text yesterday from Rabbi Leaf, who's the incoming president at Wheeling. He says, we're having our changing of the guard lunch at Ogilvy next Tuesday, June 29th. You and or any of the other local fellow Rotarians like to come. We'll be at the Wagon Shed by Shank Lake at noon. Cost is $25 per person. There will be a very nice lunch buffet, and I've arranged for Ogilvy wristbands for anyone who wishes at no extra charge. So I'm going. If anybody wants to go, that's great, but I need to know
When is it?
is next Tuesday at lunch. But he needs to turn in an account to Ogilvy this afternoon. So I need to tell him after the meeting today. So if you want to go, I need to know where it is.
Let me check my schedule when I get back over there.
Okay, just let me know like by 2. Let me know by 2 today.
And that'll be.
Okay, Jody.
I received some really great news yesterday. Jamie Bordas, with Bordas and Bordas is donating $1,000 to our fundraiser.
Wow.
Wow.
So we've received, I don't know, I think we're at 2,000 now or more.
That's awesome.
So, but yeah,
Wow.
she said, I'm sorry, this is so late. I'm like, oh my
Oh, that's
God.
okay. We'll take it. We'll bend the rules just this once.
They are gonna just mail it to me so that, and then, I won't get it to you next week, but I'll get it to you the following whenever. But-
So we are definitely well over our making that.
Oh, yeah, we really made that. Yeah.
Hopefully this is
That's
gonna be
amazing.
a good fundraiser for us. Thank you, Joni, and everybody who's reached out to some of the sponsors to make that happen, so we didn't have to put out a lot for it. Okay, we do have a guest speaker with us today. Joni, if you would like to introduce our guest.
Sure. We have today with us Mary Jo Guidi, and she works for U.S. Senator Jim Minchin. She's a part-time representative that covers 6 of the northern panhandle counties: Hancock, Brooke, Ohio, Marshall, Wetzel, and Tyler. Her job is to represent Senator Minchin by attending meetings, events where he is unable to attend himself. My primary responsibility is to listen to the constituents. I was kidding there.
All of us.
Got that word. Oh, it's been a long day. And report back to him all comments, the good and the bad. The entire staff has a 9 a.m. conference call daily, and the senator is on unless he is in a hearing or in a meeting. He's very connected to his staff. And then she will tell us a little bit about what she does with Senator Minchin. Yeah.
Trip over the chair. Okay. Thank you.
Well, this is going to be very casual and very, very informative. Very, 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 very much. But I do want to start off by at least extending greetings to you from Senator Minchin. because we learned yesterday that I was going to be the speaker today. So if you bear with me just a minute. This is greetings from Joe Minchin, United States Senator. It is my privilege to send greetings to those attending the Moundsville Rotary Luncheon. Founded in the early 1900s as the world's first voluntary service organization, Rotary is made up of individuals from all walks of life, which enables them to find unique solutions to common issues. This is such a special organization that has continued to accomplish great things for our state and the nation. I want to thank the dedicated members and volunteers for meeting today, and for all of you for our state, country, and in all the areas around the world. Rotary is a truly admirable service organization combined of millions of businesses and business leaders in more than 200 countries that help support education, job training, provide clean water, and improve health and sanitation around the world. I congratulate all of you for contributing to this great success. Rotary has always understood the importance of giving back to the community and inspires countless others to do the same. I sincerely thank all of the Rotarians who assisted in organizing today's great event and for working hard to make a difference every day. Please accept my best wishes. With warm regards, Joe Minchin III, United States Senator. So that is his expression to all of you, and thanking you for being members of Rotary. When I got the call yesterday from our state director, Mara Boggs, she said, can you do me a favor? Can you do it tomorrow? She said, my sister was scheduled to be the speaker at the Moundsville Rotary, and she's unable to attend. And can you do it? Well, yes, I can. And I said, actually, I'm really happy to do that, because I'm going to tell you just a little bit about who I am, how this job came to be for me, what a day is like when you work for Joe Minchin, which is kind of crazy, and so on and so forth. I said, Mara, is that okay? Rather than me just stand there and just talk about the bills before the Senate and all the fighting in Washington, can I tell people what we do, those of us that work for Senator Minchin? She says, yes, I think that would be a wonderful thing to do. So, to sort of go back in time, I am a WVU graduate, actually Wheeling Central first, and then WVU. I came to Morgantown in August of 1965. The very first day on campus, the first person that walked up to me and extended his hand to me and shook it, he said, hi, I'm Joe Minchin. I was 17, he had just turned 18. Now, from that moment on, I cannot tell you the friendship that was formed, because it really happened. That very same day also, my first day, moving into the dorm earlier, I met a darling girl, absolutely darling little blonde, blue-eyed, darling little girl from Beckley, West Virginia. We became the most wonderful friends, and her name was and is Gail Connolly. So if you're making any connection here, Gail Connolly became Gail Minchin. And Bonnie, you look so much like Gail. Every time I see you, you and Gail could be sisters. You look so much alike, which is a compliment to both of you. So I spent 4 wonderful years at WVU with the Minchins and our great group. And I will tell you that to this day, he has not changed one bit, not one bit. He is exactly the same person that I met in 1965. He's bigger than life. He's never met a stranger. He has more compassion for people than anyone I have ever known. And he does not understand why everyone in the world does not live in West Virginia. I mean, he thinks there is no place else you should ever live except in West Virginia, and that West Virginians are the best people in the world because they go beyond caring for each other. So I can tell you that his group of friends is the same as it was in 1965, but there are thousands more that he's added to it. And as he has risen in his lifetime, in his positions, he has taken all of us along with him. He never forgot any of us that were in the group or his friends in any way, whether we continue to go on with him and work in a certain position or just as his friends in his social group. We're all still a really tight group of people. So how did this come about that I began to work in 2012 for Joe Minchin? I was a teacher for 30 years. I retired in September of 2012 from Belmont Career Center right across the river. In those years, I also worked in different schools, most of them in Ohio. And at one time when I taught home economics, Ronnie, we came to a tour at your bed and breakfast, the whole Home Economics Association that used to be very active in the Northern Panhandle, once when that was really a great course to take at school. But as life evolved, I went into different teaching positions and such, and I retired in 2012, and I was retired for 6 days until I started working for Joe Minchin. He knew I was about to retire, and he said, would you like to work for me as a regional rep in the Northern Panhandle, part-time? Now remember that expression, part-time. I'm supposed to work 20 hours a week. That is the funniest thing I've ever heard. I think part-time means maybe part-time salary, but it isn't part-time hours. I don't work a lot every day, but when I work, I do put in quite a few hours. So what do my duties consist of? Most of the time, I'm on the phone, or I am in my car traveling to one of my 6 counties. So I have Hancock, Brooke, Ohio, Marshall, Wetzel, Tyler. We were on total lockdown starting on March 13th of 2020 because of the pandemic. We were not released to go back out into the public until May of 2021. So in those many long months, I was working probably harder than I ever did when I was able to come and go, because it was by phone. It was constantly by phone, especially in the very early 2 months or so. We had to call everybody and anybody that we knew that we worked with to make sure they were okay. What did they need? Did they need PPE? Did they need this? Did they need that? What were they short of? We absolutely put in 12 and 14-hour days on the phone trying to see what we could do through our office to expedite anything that needed to be done, or people that needed food, or this and that and the other. We really, really put in a great effort, and it was very, very worthwhile that we actually did do that. Ordinarily, now yesterday, I actually sort of began my kind of routine cruising. I got up, we have a 9 o'clock call every single morning, entire staff call. That's DC, Charleston, Fairmont, and Martinsburg. The total number of people that are employed by Senator Minchin are about 40 to 45. We're all based in different locations. There are attorneys, there are policymakers, there are lots of social workers. We have a tremendous team of social workers, and there are 6 regional reps, and I'm the one that's the most northern. I am the only part-time rep. The other 5 are full-time. They have larger geographic regions than I do. My situation is quite unique in the sense that when I started this in 2012, our nearest office was Morgantown. Now it's Fairmont. So you can see I'm not even close to our most, our closest office. So when he offered me the job, he said, you can work from home. And that's exactly what I've been doing all these years. And it is easy for me because I live in Wheeling. I've got the same distance to Chester as I do to Sistersville. I'm right in the middle. And yesterday I began in Chester. I worked my way down. I was in New Cumberland in the mayor's office. I was in Weirton mayor's office, Fallensby, and so forth. But it's not just going in and out of courthouses and mayor's offices. I do attend a lot of county commission meetings. I know every one of your commissioners very, very well. And I do in the other counties also. I need to know what is going on? What is the problem? I'm very, very, very in touch with Mike Farrow here about the Mitchell Power Plant. And in fact, I had a phone conference with Senator Minchin about it on Friday, along with the Energy Commission. So we are aware of what is going on, and that's what the job of a regional rep is. We have to be his eyes and ears, and he needs to know, and his team of people there in DC need to know exactly what is going on. I think that the senator looks for people to employ that have their pulse in their communities. We're a mixed breed of people. We're all political parties too, believe it or not. We are not all one party. We are a blend of both parties. And I think there's a few independents thrown in there also. And I think that leads to a lot of good dialogue and, other people's points of view. But we work together very, very, very well as a team. Before COVID, one of the things that we did, it was called Minchin Mobile Mondays. And that meant that we were assigned, different ones of the 6 reps were assigned on a certain date that you had to be in your community on that Monday for the public to come and meet with you. So I have been to the Moundsville Library many times, to the Senior Center in Moundsville. I have been out in Cameron at their little city hall. I have been in restaurants. I have been at McDonald's in Wheeling. I have been, you name it, I've been there with my big sign, and it's always advertised, and people come in for Minchin Mobile Monday. I would have to say that 98 or 99% of the people that have come to meet with me are very respectful and very nice, even if they are 100% against Senator Minchin's policy. I think I'm the luckiest of the reps in this part of the state that the people are very respectful, both to me and to him. And people will definitely come and say, I don't like what he's doing about this or that. That's perfect. He wants to know. I mean, I write every word down, and he gets a printout on that immediately, and their name and their contact number. So the Minchin Mobile Mondays have been successful. And then once a year, we used to do, before COVID, Common Sense Connections Week. That was the killer week. That is when we had to be in every one of our counties within 5 days. And we had to be at multiple locations in each of those counties. So let me tell you something, by Friday of Common Sense Connections, it was wild. And then you spend the next week writing up everything that everybody told you and their contact name and their information so that he could get it hot off the press. He needed to know. We do a call list for him constantly. When I run into somebody that has a good comment or something to say, I get their name, I get their number, they go on the call list. That he does call the people, but you never know day or night when he's going to call you. He usually does it when somebody's driving him back and forth into the state, and he is not driving, but he is making his calls. So if you ever get a call that says no caller ID or unknown, it could be him because his name won't come up on your screen. Recently, we have been extremely busy in covering the territory about the American Rescue Plan. That's the big over the $1 trillion bill that passed to help each of the communities all over the place. Senator Minchin put into gear that he had to go all over the state to kind of tell the people what it was about, what they were going to receive. So about 6 weeks ago, we had a very big meeting in Wheeling at the city county building, and all of the reps and everybody from this part of the state were there. It was packed. And then about 3 weeks ago, we had the second follow-up meeting to that, and that was held at Ogilvy Park, so that they actually know the federal money that's coming. We did those meetings along with J.B. McCuskey, who is the state auditor. And that money is just now beginning to trickle down a little bit. So I want to kind of show you, though, or tell you just a smidge. I'll show you first. When he's coming to town, oh my God, he looks like on the news he just kind of walks in and talks and everything's fine, and then he leaves. Let me tell you what we have to do to get him here and what our job is to make it look like it runs real smoothly. And sometimes you get a call on a Monday that he's coming on a Thursday, and then that's when you think he would really like to die. There is no amount of work you can't imagine. So this is just, I'm not going to pass it around or anything. This was the schedule that came out the week before we stopped because of COVID. He was going to have a grand, big, lots of things up in the Northern Panhandle. So this was to begin on Friday, March 13th, which actually became the day he shut us down. That was our last, Friday the 13th was our last official work day because of COVID. But he was coming to Wheeling on Tuesday, March 17th, and it was going to be fantastic. So we were going to begin at 10 o'clock with a town hall meeting at Independence Hall in Wheeling. You can see the red words and things are already, we're changing things. He was then going to go to the Wheeling Rotary, and he mentioned Rabbi Leaf, who was a really close friend of mine. And Rabbi Leaf was inviting Rotaries from all over the area to come to that big meeting at the Civic Center. And then we were going to leave, and we were going to go to the Blue Racer, Natrium, whatever, down the river. And we were going to then end up in New Martinsville for a beautiful medal ceremony for a gentleman who was turning 100 and sadly has since passed. We got him these medals, but we couldn't do it publicly because of COVID. That was just that one day. These are notes of me, of every single thing, like who the moderator was, who was going to say the prayer, who was going to do the Pledge of Allegiance, who we had to recognize in the group, who were the most distinguished people that were there, on and on and on. That was just my little notes to me. Then, after the senator was to leave Wheeling that day, he was ending up that day in New Martinsville, and then he had to go on for more things that would be in Fairmont that night. Then the next day, he goes from Fairmont to Morgantown for a forum there. These are all little tiny, like just little snippets for him to kind of at a glance know what he's doing. Another thing in Morgantown, another thing at the airport, then back to Charleston. You can't, it's endless. It's endless. He doesn't want to just do something, 2 or 3 things in one area and leave. No. We have to fill in as many things as we possibly can, as many people as he can possibly meet. Some of the things that I have to do to get ready for him, I have to have cinnamon gum and breath mints, hand sanitizer, a blue permanent marker, his business cards, my business cards, 2 bottles of water, a little notebook for me. My phone has to be charged and ready to take lots of pictures of him with constituents. He always carries a blue book. And not only does he have the blue notebook, we have the identical notebook, just in case one of them is forgotten somewhere. We have to have the blue notebook. And in the notebook are things that he needs to know to say while he is wherever he is at that moment. So he might have 5 or 6 blue notebooks in the car, one for each place that he goes that day. They're not all necessarily one notebook. It tells us everything we have to know ahead of time. I have to call the police departments to make sure there is security and also reserved parking places. When he was governor, it was great because he had the state police that drove him everywhere. Senators don't have anybody to drive them except themselves or their own staff. And that's really not smart, especially since January 6th. They should all really have a lot of coverage. But he doesn't. It's just us. The police in this area are great. I give them a heads up that we're coming, and they really do provide us with a lot of coverage. I have to take notes constantly when he is here. I'm behind him, listening to who he's talking to, getting their name, a little summary of what they're asking him, and how I can contact them, because that isn't just a brief conversation. Tons of pictures. We have to make sure that there is the American flag and the state flag. If he's standing like I am, we want the flags, to be there behind him. We have to watch out for the press, and we kind of hopefully try to get him to speak to the press before a meeting begins rather than later, because we usually have to get him out so fast, and if the press is then waiting to talk to him, it can really slow us down a little bit. We have to know basically the agenda. We have to have prearranged parkings. It's usually a little more parking than necessary. We have to know who that contact person is at that location and be in touch with them at all times, whether like at Independence Hall would be Debbie Jones, and we would be in touch with her. What time we're coming, we're running late, this, that, or the other. There's lots of back and forth all the time. And when he travels, he usually travels with at least one driver, And whatever rep is in the area is there to accompany him. And sometimes one or two other staff members will be with him also. In order to have a nice event for him, we have to spend time on the phone calling everybody we know, asking them if they can be there. You know, we don't want to miss one mayor. We don't want to miss one commissioner. We don't want to miss one person that has expressed an interest, good, bad, or ugly, about him. We want them there also. We have to check out the location and make sure it's very secure. We have to make sure that the sound system works. We have to make sure that the room accommodates the size that we could possibly be anticipating. Sometimes that's been a problem when we get big overflow crowds. And so we have to, and we're the ones that are responsible for doing all of that. We have to come up with an agenda of what we think the people, if it's a town hall, what are the people going to be asking you? What is the hot topic in that particular part of the state? So that he knows ahead of time to think about the things that he's going to address. It's an awful lot of background work that I think makes him look real good. He walks right in. He's very friendly. He'll tell you, hi, my name's Joe, and so on and so forth. And all that is wonderful, but you just don't know what we went through before he got there. And he's very appreciative of us. I mean, he truly is. He's really connected to every single staff member. We know so many things about him personally that we don't even share with the public. You have no idea the kind deeds he has done throughout his life for people that it's anonymous. And he's so proud of being from Farmington, West Virginia. Have any of you ever been to Farmington or even heard of it?
Yes.
Well, it makes Mansfield look like New York City.
I'm from Fairmont, so.
It is so small. And he tells the story of his dad was the mayor at one point, the mayor of Farmington. And there was no stoplight. It was a four-way stop, but there was no stoplight. So his dad's agenda was he's going to get a stoplight in Farmington. And on the very first day it was installed, there was an accident.
Oh.
So they took the stoplight down. He'll talk about his grandparents and his grandfather's little store. His uncle, his mother's brother, was killed in the Farmington mine disasters. You know, his roots really do run deep as a West Virginian that came from not the most plush, you know, area of the state. He has seen the good, the bad, and the ugly of what it's like. He is still very, very involved with the miners that were killed in the explosion. What was the name of the one, that really bad one that all of those miners, and only one person survived? Oh, Sago. Only one young man survived that. And he is still in touch with him and his family, and they go to see him. And he did spend 3 days around the clock without sleep right there at that site when he was governor, because the word was coming out in the public that the men had survived, that they would be coming out. But he was told, no, they're not coming out. And so he had to deal with all of that and how you break that to the family. Eventually had them, I think, at a little Baptist church where he was able to sadly tell them that, because the poor people, they were cooking, they were getting ready to feed the miners, and oh dear me, it was a very, very, very bad thing. So when I say that he has this blue book, this is kind of like what it looks like when he starts to speak. We have for him crib notes to just give him the flow of the event, just enough to let him know that these are the things he needs to speak about. When he came to speak to the group in Wheeling about what the communities, the amount of money they would be receiving from the American Rescue Plan, he was very firm that he needed to know every community to the dollar what they were getting. So here we go. Ohio County got that much. Bethlehem, Clearview, Philadelphia Valley. I mean, he spoke about each one of those. Brooke County, Hancock County, Marshall County. Moundsville was to get $3.43 million. Incidentally, that money is still probably not flowing through yet. So you'll have to talk to J.B. McCuskey, who is the state auditor. But I did know yesterday when I was up in Weirton that they have now received 1/2 of their money. They were given 10.59 million. They have received 5 million as of last Thursday. So that might be a good sign that your money is going to be forthcoming, hopefully also. So this is what Senator Manchin's famous blue book kind of looks like. It's just little highlights of things that that he needs to speak about, kind of, make sure that he covers those. You're probably hearing his name in the news so much that I run out of the room now when I hear his name. I'm so scared that, oh my God, what are they going to be saying about him now? But yesterday, the bill, the big voting rights thing, it went down. It's not going to advance. But Senator Minchin has come up with what he considers to be amendments or provisions to that bill that would reduce it was 800 and some pages long. Can you imagine anybody reading anything that's that long? And it narrowed it down to what you really need to talk about in a voting rights bill. And he proposed this, and actually, he got sort of a nod from the president. He got a nod from former President Obama. Others on both parties were agreeable to listening to some of these amendments. But when the bill hit the floor, all 50 Republicans voted it down. So that wasn't his amended bill. That was the big, crazy bill. So where they go from there, I can't tell you, except he is determined that that bill, in its entirety, will not die, that they will try hard to resurrect from it the things that really do need to be addressed. Then you're going to get into a lot of controversy about should voting be completely mandated differently in all 50 states doing their own thing, or should it be a federal, this is how we're going to vote from now on. So be prepared to have this debate and discussion go on endlessly. You'll see him on the news constantly. He's getting very weary of that. And the thing is, there are at least 10 other Democratic senators behind him that are in total agreement of everything he is saying and doing, but they're not putting them on camera. They're letting him be kind of like the fall guy for the good or the bad. It's focused on him. So just keep in mind that it really isn't, he doesn't really hold all the power that they're trying to pretend he has, because there are others that are in agreement with him. One other kind of unfortunate thing to say is that he is a member of a group of 10 senators who meet regularly, 5 Democrats and 5 Republicans. They are determined to be bipartisan. They will listen to each other. They don't necessarily 100% agree, but they're very polite, respectful, and they learn from each other. He says it's wonderful. This 10, it's wonderful. He says the other 90 don't mix at all. And that's the sad part. They're not interacting with people from the other side. They're not doing it. And until we can get 100 of them to decide to interact with each other, we might be stuck for a very, very long time. And it's very unfortunate. He's on 4 committees, and I'm going to conclude. He is the ranking member on energy. That is as high as you can go on energy. So he even has like a little subdivision of our office that's the Energy Commission. And those are brilliant people that work on energy with him. And, coming from an energy state, being, from a coal mine camp to begin with, he believes in all of the above. He's fighting hard for Mitchell. He believes that there is room for other types of energy, but you don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. You've got to evolve smartly and sensibly. He is also on appropriations, which is so good because so is Shelley Moore Capito. Couldn't get better than that. You've got both of the senators from this state that are on appropriations. That is brilliant because they can get money for things, hopefully for us. He's also on the Veterans Affairs Committee and also on Armed Services. He's on many, many other subcommittees. So that's kind of in a nutshell what the life is like in the world of being a rep for Joe Manchin. part-time. Be sure that you remember that I am just a part-time. It paid to be full-time. Yes.
I just have a comment. I'm somewhat familiar with your job there because my grandmother was a representative for Alan Mulligan.
Wonderful. What was her name?
Kathy Abraham.
I knew her. I knew Kathy Abraham. I certainly did. They called her Fuzzy.
Fuzzy.
That's right. Yes, she
I
was
used
his.
to call her Grandma Fuzzy.
She was his rep for a very long time.
25 years
Oh my God.
around that time period.
Yeah. I
And
remember.
he did come to the funeral home when she passed.
That was a very sad thing. I'm very sorry about her passing.
Yeah, that
which
was
a
very rough on her.
terrible tragedy. So I don't know if all the senators have reps that are working like we do. I can only speak for us. I'm telling you, we have no downtime. We're busy. But again, I am part-time. Yes.
When will you start the Monday things again?
The Minchin Mobile Mondays, as soon as they think it's safe for us to be out again in public and in enclosed areas and such.
Is that advertised like in the paper?
It'll be in the paper always. It'll be on. Do any of you get his newsletters? Wait, it's online, his newsletter. I should pass something around. If you want to get it, it comes out once a week. And it'll always tell you what's up and where we'll be and so forth. So if you want me to do that, I can do that too. You can then really follow us a lot. I am not a big social media person. Truly, I am not. This is just me personally, not a rep. So don't misunderstand this. I personally think that social media can do more harm than good in many ways because every person has an opinion about something and it's not always factual, and then you've got people that believe it, and it can really spin in a very, very bad way. So
I think it's played a big role in today's politics.
it has done tremendous damage in
It
today's
has, yeah.
politics. Because people will believe, and I have met these people, along the way. I have met mostly really wonderful people. I can go into a room of the strictest, staunchest Republicans who are the most lovely, wonderful GOP people that are so nice to me and so nice about him. They will be able to so respectfully tell me what they agree or disagree about him. But that's because I'm facing them face to face, and they've got a lot of class. They've got a whole lot of class. But behind the keyboard, an anonymous person, not those people, I don't mean them, but other people can come up with some really wacky and terrible things to say. Yeah. So anyhow, thank you very much.
Thank you guys for the donation for Cameron. I know they will appreciate it. I do appreciate it a lot. Does anybody else have anything for the good of the club?
Just one question. I will not be here. The grill and the cooler are at the hotel.
And I'm gonna bring will you be there tomorrow?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll be there till Friday.
Okay. I'll get it. I'm gonna
Okay.
get it to you.
So I don't know who's going to pick it up, or is the winner going to just pick it up there? That's fine. I'm just saying I won't be here to physically give it.
Would they be able to pick it up or something?
Do you think it needs to be at the drawing, the prizes?
I don't think it needs to be out.
Yeah, because we're gonna have to take it there.
That's what I was wondering. I was like, I will pick it up and bring it back or
Someone's gonna have to take it.
figure that
I
out,
mean-
but if it doesn't need to be there, then I don't.
It can stay at the hotel. Somebody's gonna have to text or email me or whatever, who in the world is winning it.
Yeah.
Which
It
it
would
would be
be
great if it would be me. But
Cody's ready to fight.
because I would have to let my staff know that so-and-so would be picking this up.
Do you want to give them the coupon while they're up there?
Yeah, we'll put it all together.
Okay, you don't want to take that separate, you want to take that to the picnic is one of them.
Okay, I'm not going to the picnic.
No,
I'm in
Okay, so
the beach.
I'll just leave it.
yeah, I say all three pieces should be together, that way we can end up.
Yeah, I see just leave it at the
If you would
hotel.
rather not pick it up there, I can. leave it
I
to
don't
the
have a
bank.
problem. I mean, it's right there. I just need to know who, so I can
Okay.
let the staff
Okay.
make sure that they
The wrong
get.
person doesn't want.
So I'm gonna recommend you, whoever wins that evening, put it on Facebook.
I was gonna do a Facebook Live of the drawing.
Perfect. So that it's known who wins and that way.
Yeah, it's,
Maybe you're probably, I'm sure whoever, those people are on Facebook, maybe even be able to find them and link on there. Contact whoever, contact you, Jim Denver.
I just have to,
Or pick up the prize.
I don't want you to show up if you didn't win.
Is there anything else before we adjourn?
This is not Rotary based, but the City of Moundsville Arts and Culture Commission is doing an Appalachian Culture cookbook. And if anyone's interested, I have flyers, we're accepting recipes, we're looking for anything that's, you know, that your family has done, anything related to our Appalachian culture. So we're gonna put this all together and then hopefully have them, as long as we get enough recipes, we'll do this hopefully in the fall, because we have a bigger Appalachian event hopefully planned. So if anyone's interested, please let me know. I have flyers to pass out and everything.
Good, Matt?
Yes.
I'm interested in buying the book.
But there's an email address that you can email them to, or if you can drop them off to me personally, mail them to the city building, whatever, all the info's on here. Yes.
That's good.
Okay, guys.
I
I have like a.
Thank you.